Everybody, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. And this is going to be another non-unboxing review of a Marvel Legends figure. This is the retro carded Spider-Man 2099. Obviously, the retro carding has the old school Spider-Man from the animated series, decals and logo all on the back. This right here says Spider DNA. Now, little disclaimer, I had recorded this video before and the whole thing just erased itself upon transferring the files. So I will tell you guys, just word of advice, if you're in this space, copy the files, don't transfer them. So that way, if something goes wrong, you have the original copy. Anyway, so jumping into this right here, this is one of those characters that I feel recently got a resurgence of popularity because of the fact that he was in Into the Spider-Verse. If I'm saying the names wrong, because I know there's Spider-Verse, the first one and the second one, but with the Miles Morales. And I feel that really being that he was a prominent character and it really gave him a surge of popularity. We'll jump into that in a little moment. Looking at the back of the box, you could see the characters for this wave is Spider-Man, obviously 2099. You have, let me make sure the lighting is here and on point, you guys. Sorry about that. Uncanny Spider-Man, Nightcrawler. And we have Spider-Venom, which I don't know of the character specifically, but you could almost consider it almost like a black costume variant. You have Marvel's Owl, Hypno Hustler, which I never heard of, and Cardiac, which is an old school villain from back in the days. He actually used to be around the same time that Carnage kind of almost debuted. Carnage actually debuted, if I'm not mistaken. I have that comic. In a comic where Spider-Man's fighting Cardiac, and you see Carnage, like a piece of him, not all of him, just like his arm or something like that, a body part just kind of like in the frame, and the rest of him is out of frame, and I think some words, so it's kind of like he's coming type of thing. So yeah, but I can't remember exactly. So here you can see it written over here. It says, in the year 2099, a lab accident rewrites the genetic code of scientist Miguel O'Hara, turning him into Spider-Man. And you have the art up here in the corner. Now, what he comes with, first of all, I really like the paint job. I like the colors on this. I like the body mold on this. Looks really nice. I really liked and had a hard time getting a hold of the Spider-Man Scarlet Spider before, and that one went increased in price very fast, actually. And one thing I always point out when it comes to Marvel Legends characters is that sometimes you have it where they will come out, and while you think some of them are going to go on sale, some of them do go on sale if they didn't sell well. If some of them sell really well, they get sold out, and then now they go up in price in terms of like supply and demand. So it's tricky. You kind of really can't gauge what's going to happen with them. I don't know if that was going to happen this one. I wasn't ready to really purchase him yet, even though I knew I wanted him, but I figured let me jump on him now because I get a feeling this one's going to go up in price. Just like what happened with the Scarlet Spider, where I had to wait for that one to kind of come down. And even when it came down to like, maybe I was able to get it at 30. I think it originally started at 25, went up to like, I think almost 40. And I had to just wait until a time period I can get it, I think close to 30. So it's not always easy. And even then, it's just the luck of the draw. So right here, you see he comes with his fist hands. He comes with the open palm hands. So I think every Spider-Man should have at least 3 sets of hands. He's got the open palm hands, and he's got almost like open grip claw hands because he has claws on the tip of his fingers. Now, fun fact, I have the first comic of this. I have maybe up to issue 4. I never read through all of them because back in the days, I used to collect the comics, and there was this big surge of just collecting comics for the value, yeah, it's just the value of the comics. There used to be a price guide out. There used to be 2 of them, but I remember the one that ended up taking over to be the prominent one was Wizard. There was another one that was before that. I'm not sure if they did comics or just things like cards and stuff like that. I can't remember. Was it Beckett? Was it called Beckett? I want to say it was called Beckett, and I don't remember what was included in that. If that had Marvel stuff, superhero stuff as well, or if it was just sports stuff. I can't remember, but I know that I think it did, and I think they were competing at the time. But Wizard ended up blowing it out because they always had extra articles revolving around comic stuff. And so my point, not to digress, is that it became just buying certain comics just for the sake of being like, I have it, you know, in whatever cases. But the first one I went through, I remember going through the pages. I don't remember all that detail well, but I remember a scene in it. I just thought it was very interesting, the tone that was set, where Miguel's character, he gets transformed to Spider-Man. He doesn't really realize what's going on. It's kind of like very similar to the original Spider-Man, where you kind of figure out your powers. But instead of something where the original Spider-Man story, he's hopping around, he can stick to walls and stuff like that. For him, there's a scene like at the end of the comic where he's trying to save some guy who's fallen off a roof, and he grabs him, and he doesn't realize the nails come out of the tips of his fingers. And so he grabs him like this on his arm. And as he pulls, it's ripping into the guy's arm. And he's like, let me go, like, you're killing me. And then like, he's trying to help the guy, but his guy's arm is bleeding like crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he ends up dropping the guy and the guy dies. Really sets that tone. So I always thought that was interesting. I feel the 2099 world was one that they pushed out there. It didn't get a lot of traction until more modern years, when they started kind of coming into the whole multiverse stuff. And that's when they started having the Ultimate Universe. You started having all these other ones. And even though these were just kind of like, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, test pilots of different, you know, like just different story concepts, different world concepts they wanted to do. Once they started introducing the concepts of multiverse, they started saying, well, all these other places that we made up, 2099, the Ultimate Universe, and X, Y, and Z, started Days of Future Path. All these kind of things started becoming, hey, these make up our alternate universes that we've had all along. Now that we're doing a multiverse kind of crossover type events that started taking place. And then obviously the point in which I felt that like, that was a very prominent concept was this game on, I believe it was for multiple platforms. I think I had it on Xbox 360 at the time, called Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, where you had Spider-Man Noir, the regular Spider-Man, black costume Spider-Man, but I think he was from a different universe. I think it was the Ultimate one with the black costume. And then Spider-Man 2099. And so that also kind of brought forth the concept of different dimensions, but within the Spider-Man world, which became a big thing, because that some people speculate that was the jumping off platform to the movies that came out recently. Now you've had, you know, multi-dimensional stuff in the animated series that art is from, but it was a little different. And I don't know how much of that inspired all the multi-dimensional stuff that came later in terms of like with Spider-Man stuff. But obviously that became a big prominent thing later on in the comics, having this kind of multi-dimensional thing with Spider-Man particularly. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as a fun fact. And now obviously this character has got, like I said, a resurgence from being one of the main characters in the Spider-Verse movies. So that is awesome that he has gotten that resurgence and people have got a chance to kind of really get to know him a little bit better as a character. I think his art, like his design always looked really cool. What was always interesting too is that a lot of these alternate Spider-Mans actually look really cool. I'm a fan of the way this one looks. I'm a fan of Noir. I was always a fan of Scarlet Spider, even though for a long time I was in denial of it because I didn't like the idea that he was one of the first clone type or other versions of Spider-Man in the comics. And I hated the idea that he was trying to replace, almost in my mind, the original Spider-Man. I was like, no, like that's a staple. You need that Spider-Man. But once you realize it was like, okay, multiple Spider-Mans can exist at the same time, it's like, all right, I'll back off. And truth is, it's kind of cool. He's running around with the hoodie and this and that. And the same with this one. Taking Spider-Man's little spider wings that are underneath his arms and emphasizing that now to a cape. Him being very distinguished also with the claws at the tip of his finger, as opposed to where Spider-Man, you've seen different versions where he has little hairs, micro hairs. Some of them say like that he's got like uses a form of like static electricity, some kind of bioelectricity that makes him stick to walls. You don't really know, but this one clearly was these claws at the tip of his fingers. And I always thought that was interesting how they very much distinguished that. This figure looks amazing, and you've got the toe joints, which is great to get him inside those great poses, because Spider-Man is one of those characters who always has to kind of be one of the most flexible, so he can get in a lot of poses. And I think this one just looks really nice. And though some people say he's supposed to be in a more I don't want to say chrome. What's the word I'm looking for? Like he's, I guess for lack of a better word, his suit is supposed to be more of like a chrome kind of material, shiny metallic. That's the word I'm looking for, metallic type of look. But I think this colorway looks nice without it being metallic, and probably will last longer. And it's funny because not in every interpretation that you see him has it looking shiny like a metallic thing. I don't remember if the comics it was like that, but I don't really recall that as much. So yeah. But anyway, you guys, definitely get a hold of this figure if you can soon. Link's gonna be in the description down below if you guys purchase on Amazon. This figure right here, I really think it's gonna be a hot figure that is gonna go soon, and then the prices are gonna be really jacked up on it. So get it while you can. As always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.